So Sky Sports are clinging on. They have signed deals with two promotional companies in Top Rank and Boxer. We can have a look at their schedule here. September 11th was supposed to be Valdez defended his WBC super featherweight title, but I have to imagine that's now off because Valdez has tested positive for some substances. September 25th, of course, the Sky Sports box office event, Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk with Lawrence Okolie on the undercard. October 2nd, you got Eubank Jr. versus Sven Elbir, that's now confirmed. On the undercard, David Avanesian, Richard Riakporhe, Lawal versus Ward. October 16th, you got Savannah Marshall and Hughie Fury. They're two of Boxer's new signings and Sky's new signings, of course. They've left Eddie Hearn. October 24th, Jamel Herring versus Shakur Stevenson. And November 6th, the Boxer tournament. Doesn't say who's actually going to be on that. December 18th, of course, a Top Rank. Well, is it a Top Rank in conjunction with Boxer? I'm not sure. What does it say here? Sky Sports is another place to watch live Top Rank events from the United States. In the UK and Ireland, while the partnership with Boxer will deliver fights from elite fighters from the UK. Okay. So I guess this will be a Top Rank show then rather than a Boxer show. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's their schedule. Now, if we look at the roster, these are the fighters who are signed to this promotional company called Boxer. You got Hughie Fury, Steve Robinson, a heavyweight, never heard of him. Nick Campbell, heavyweight, never heard of him. Richard Riakporhe, that's interesting. Is he still being managed by Dylan White or is he split from Dylan White now? Mikhail Lawal, never heard of that guy. Scott Forrest, never heard of him. Jermaine Brown, never heard of him. Chris Eubank Jr., of course, we've all heard of him. Brad Rhea, never heard of him. Joe Pigford, I have heard of him. Adam Aziz, never heard of him. Azim. Hassan Azim, never heard of him either. I guess that's a relative, his brother. Lewis Ritson, okay, that's interesting. So he's left Matchroom as well, Lewis Ritson. Mark Dickinson, never heard of him. Savannah Marshall, of course, heard of her. And this is interesting. Clarissa Shields is signed to Boxer. Yeah, I know that she is promoted in the US by Dimitri Salita, last I checked. In the UK, apparently has some kind of promotional deal with Boxer, which would mean that the Savannah Marshall-Clarissa Shields fight should be very easy to make now, since they're both signed to the same promotional company in the UK. And you would imagine that fight would probably happen in the UK. Georgia O'Connor, don't know who she is. Caroline Dubois, that's Daniel Dubois' sister, of course. April Hunter, Ebony Jones. Okay, so I think it's fair to say not the strongest lineup for Boxer here, and they will be the lead promoter on the Sky Sports platform. Sauerland / Wasserman Boxing will also be working with Sky, of course. If we look at their Twitter over here, you can see Chris Eubank returns as multi-fight deal with Wasserman Boxing, and Sky Sports begins October 2nd. So that show that Eubank Jr. is headlining against Sven Elbir on October 2nd, I have to imagine this is going to be a Wasserman-Sauerland show rather than a Boxer show. Although it doesn't say anything here about Sauerland and Wasserman in this particular article. Anyway, let's move on to the Top Rank schedule. Okay, that's the starting list of Boxer fighters. And this is Top Rank fighters include, because they've got a lot more than this, of course. These are just the highlights. Josh Taylor, Oscar Valdez, Jamel Herring, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Terence Crawford, Vasyl Lomachenko, Joe Smith Jr., Michaela Maya, Arthur Beterbiev, Inoue, Murata. This is a strong stable. There's absolutely no doubt about it. The Boxer stable pales in comparison to this stable. But of course, Boxer are a new outfit as far as I'm aware. So, you know, give them time. They might grow into something. Let me know what you guys feel about this in the comments below. The stables, the lineup. Do you feel like it's value for you to keep your Sky subscription? Or do you feel like it's, I don't know, weaker than DAZN, better than DAZN, better value for money than DAZN, worse value for money? Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Now, personally, obviously, I want to see AJ Usyk. I think that's a good card. I'm always interested in watching Eubank Jr. because he's entertaining. Other than that, this Top Rank show, Herring versus Stevenson, is something I'm interested in. And I'm always interested in watching Josh Taylor, albeit against Jack Catterall this time around. I mean, what do you guys feel about that fight? because they're both southpaws, right? The thing that they have in common is they both beat Ohara Davis, but Josh Taylor has fought at a much, much higher level. And by the way, Catterall Davis, I just remember that being a really soporific affair where both guys were trying to box safety first, and Ohara was really upset that the decision didn't go his way. I remember that, but I don't remember being particularly impressed by either guy in that fight, Davis or Catterall. So I know styles make fights and it's not always a like-for-like comparison, but Josh Taylor obviously did a lot better against Ohara Davis than Jack Catterall did. You know, he took him out. So anyway, that's somebody I always like watching. But other than that, you know, the Top Rank schedule should be good, but the Boxer schedule at the moment, And actually, look at this here. Chris Eubank Jr. is listed as being signed to Boxer. That's interesting, isn't it? I thought he had a deal with Sauerland and Wasserman, and that's what they're talking about. Maybe it's a co-promotional deal. Maybe he's co-promoted by Boxer as well as Sauerland and Wasserman. Perhaps Boxer have got the same deal that Eddie Hearn had, where it's exclusive for them and they can choose to work in conjunction with other promoters. But in terms of the main promoter on the platform, perhaps it's them, just the way that Eddie Hearn was. And it's their call in terms of whether they allow other promoters to come and work with them on the Sky Sports platform. We got a video here on IFL with Peter Fury explaining why he left Matchroom and DAZN for Sky Sports and Boxer. He says it's nothing personal. They did a great job over there at Matchroom, but he is doing what's best for his fighters in terms of fights getting made. He kept on putting an emphasis on that. Fights getting made. And I guess he was alluding to Savannah Marshall versus Clarissa Shields. As far as Hughie Fury, I'm not sure who he could be referring to there, but it is what it is. And as I always say, you've got to go wherever it's best for you to go. You know, I was watching an interview with Mark Potter, who is, you know, a former British boxer, heavyweight boxer, fought Danny Williams famously from Walthamstow in East London. And one of the things he said that I think the biggest purse he ever made in his career was something like 14 grand, right? And he said the biggest mistake he's ever made, boxing-wise, is being loyal. He said that's probably why he hasn't made the kind of money he feels like he should have made, because he was loyal to people. And this is why I keep telling you guys, there is no place for a boxer to be loyal to promoters, managers, and all this kind of stuff in boxing. Because best believe the promoters and the managers, for the most part, are not going to be loyal to you. Just look at, you know, some of the people that have left Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn doesn't have a bad reputation. You know, he's not somebody that gets into legal battles with fighters like certain other promoters, right? However, once a fighter is no longer deemed commercially viable by Eddie Hearn, like let's say Anthony Sims Jr., well, Eddie Hearn's not calling the guy anymore, apparently. That doesn't surprise me. So if people want to talk about loyalty, the promoter is loyal to you only as long as you can make him money. And it should be the other way as well. You should only be loyal to the promoter so long as he's making you money. You're loyal to whoever makes you the most money. And if this guy can't make you the same money as another promoter, then you go with the other promoter or the other broadcaster. Yeah? If they can't get you the fights you want, you go with someone else. And that's what Peter Fury has done with Savannah Marshall and his son Hughie Fury. He's doing what he feels like is best for them, going where he thinks the grass is greener. So, more power to him. Yeah, let me know what you guys feel about all of this in the comments below.